I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
You have a vision of your child wanting to be a doctor, and you would love to have that title behind their name, Doctor so and so. That's your dream. But your child wants to be a dancer. How do you support your child's unconditional aspirations, your unconventional aspirations? How do you redefine success? You know, many times our children have desires that reflect their creative energy, their skills, their talents, something that they enjoy doing. But if we listen to what the society says, the society might say, well, that's not going to make any money, or how are you going to get a job doing that? And so sometimes we crush our children's aspirations. We crush their dreams because we don't see the dollar signs connected to their vision of what they want to be. Usually we don't figure out until we're on our way out of here that the point in life is to enjoy life. And they always say no one ever leaves this world on their last breath saying, I wish I had put in more time at the office at a job that I hated. No one says that. They always say, I wish I had done the things I dreamed. I wish I had dared to dream. And if we understand what success really is, success is joy in living. So can we allow our children to dream, even if what they envision for themselves doesn't sound like it's going to be a good job? Well, sisters, what do you think? What do you do if your child has aspirations for something unconventional that they'd like to be? And we're not sure they can make a great living at it or even a regular paycheck, but it's what they love. Can we be supportive and encouraging? What do you think?
Part of that understanding and supporting your child who may choose some profession that you don't think is going to make them any money is being able to tap into what are your child's gifts? What are the special talents that you see that are going to bring fulfillment and enhancement in your child's life? We cannot live our shattered dreams through our children. Oh, maybe you wanted to be a network newscaster, which I always did, but that did not happen. I did not become Oprah like I make these jokes to my friends that I could have been. But to try and make that be something that I wanted my daughter to do, like when my oldest daughter changed her major from journalism to English and then got her major master's degree in Chinese language and culture. That was so far from the beginning of what I thought she was going to go into. And I had no problem with that. I had no problem with her falling in love with something that gave her fulfillment. Now, I will say, when my daughter Lorelai, she had been an artist from day one, from when she first started drawing at the age of 2. And at some point during her high school years, she got involved with Gallery 37, which was an art program downtown. And she had been part of another art program that was located downtown. And I remember one of my friends kind of cautioning me, saying, you know, I don't know if I would let my child be involved with the teenagers from other high schools around the city downtown, because some of those kids are wild. And true to form, some of these other students from other schools were a little on the wild side. They were gifted, but it was during this time that Lorelai did some experimenting and things I wouldn't have approved of. In fact, her music teacher once caught her downtown smoking and came back and reported to me, I saw your daughter smoking a cigarette. I'm laughing now because I found out all these things like years later after my kids had stopped doing all their wild stuff. And it comes out in their Christian testimonies when they say what changed their lives at some point. But I allowed her to participate in Gallery 37 because it was an opportunity for her to explore deeply her artistic gifts, her talents, and be able to practice in other forms. And I am gratified because now she is getting, a couple of college art degrees in animation and in painting. And these are fulfillment type of things. She's even teaching a course in art, the students that she has. And she loves this. And I think it is important in our day and age to recognize that productivity does not equal fulfillment. Just because you are making a lot of money, that does not mean that you are being fulfilled in your inner being and something that brings you satisfaction and joy. Because I will tell you, as a person that has been involved in full-time ministry for many years, you don't make any money doing that. But if you love it, you are fulfilled.
Well, I'd like to weigh in here too, because I kind of think the reason why I suggested this as a topic is because I think we have done a lot of course correction as a community. For one thing, I shared something, and I want to share this now if I can pull it up. I shared it on my Instagram page because it kind of spoke to how our community has been pigeonholed. And it's from a woman who's, and I don't know if this was hers, but this is what she had posted. Her name is Kezia M. Williams. She's at Kezia MW. I just want to give her due. And it says, tall Black boys can be engineers, architects, and attorneys, not just basketball players.
Ah.
Beautiful Black girls can be investors, accountants, entrepreneurs, not just models. Stop limiting the success of Black children based on their appearance. And I totally agree with that because I think we have for so long and for so many generations been pigeonholed into either because they look a certain way, Black boys and some Black girls are athletic and they're not given their due on something other than their physical attributes. And the same thing with when, a few generations ago, our people were not given anything other than trades to go to. So we've got 400 plus years of course correcting on what is the limit for our children. And we've talked about, them studying abroad, but we've also we need to also remember that everybody wants their children to succeed, but we have to decide what it is that we count as success. And I remember years ago I interviewed this actor. His name is Gary Cole, and he's been very successful. And he's starring in NCIS. But at the time when I interviewed him, and he's white, and he was the star of a show called Midnight Caller. He was the star.
Mm.
And because he was a Chicago native, I said, "Oh, I really want to do a story on this guy." But even he was saying that his parents said, why don't you get a degree in something else just as a fallback? That's a parent's thing, is that they don't want you to be disappointed. But the thing is that we also need to understand that some of our children are going to do something like Barbara and her kids that is foreign to us. It's not something that we can do. Sarah decided she wanted to go into public health. She's been a wonderful dancer all her life. She started dancing at the age of 3, and actually she got her first tap shoes. I got her first tap shoes at age 2. But she's, an amazing dancer. And I said, if you want to pursue this, go ahead. You have my full support. But she decided that she wanted to do something because she knows that a dancer's life is short lived. So she wanted to do something a little bit more substantial. And if her dream job was to dance on the stage behind Beyonce or something, I would have said, go for it. And this is what we want to do with our children. Sometimes, like Barbara said, you see their gifts and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you may only hear about their aspirations. I have friends whose children have been very, very talented in the arts, but they turn around and say, no, if you're going to college on my dime, you're going to study business or something else to make money. So I believe that it's a tricky balancing act to to understand that your children are not you, and that we need to, and as a community we need to start defining that success isn't just the big house, the nice car, the designer clothes. Not saying that all of us do that, because frankly, I don't care about clothes or any of that stuff or jewelry. And some people do. I just don't. But we need to say, what is it that will make your life a success? If you can pay your bills, you're doing good. But sometimes people have to be starving artists for a while. And that's just, I feel like we need to, even though we want our children to build that generational wealth that we haven't been privy to for several generations because of the government policies, we need to stop thinking in terms of money only.
Oh, absolutely. I
And you know
totally.
what else? I will even say that my husband, with his dual degrees, he got that business degree because that is a little bit what his father always wanted. But his degree in theology, what was it, Masters of Divinity, that is really what he went for. Okay, so he did the dual degree, so he pleased his father and himself. But I will also speak to the fact that my cousin Paul, who I acquired from marriage to my husband on my husband's side, he
Acquired.
is a brilliant musician. He has a school of music for children. But when he was going into music, his dad said to him, you need to get a degree in business or something to fall back on
To
in
fall
case
back
this
on.
doesn't happen. This
Yes.
isn't. So I think my cousin Paul was, rolling his eyes, but he got that other degree not because he felt like he needed to have it to fall back on, because his first love was music and he was going to definitely pursue that. But he got the degree in English or business or whatever his other degree was, just so that his father would be satisfied and not fearful that his son was not going to be successful. But Paul's thing is music, and his music career has taken off in terms of stage performances. And like I said, the School of Music for kids. All kids love music, and he has used that for many, many years. But it's one of those talents that gives him fulfillment. And I'm sure at this point in his life, it pays the bills. But a lot of our starving artists and writers and singers, they wait tables on the side so that they can pay the bills.
Until
But
they can get that break. And this is
yeah,
the thing, is that sometimes your child may go into a profession or a vocation that doesn't necessarily pay money, or a lot of money. Maybe they want to go into nonprofit. Now, when I went into the trade of journalism, I figured I would just be poor my whole life, but I wanted to write. I wanted to be a sports writer. My first job out of college, and it was many years ago, more than 4 decades ago, but I made $8,000 that year. That was my first year out of college. I didn't make any money. Then I made like about $4,000 more the next 4 or 5 years when I moved and got on a daily paper. I didn't and then I doubled it when I moved to the East Coast. But the thing was, I never, until I got into a major metropolitan area and a major metropolitan newspaper, I was not making a lot of money, but it was okay because I was doing what I wanted to do. And it wasn't until I got to the point where I was on a guild paper that I was making like really good money, and it really surprised me that anybody could make it. Of course, at that time, newspapers also became a little bit more corporate, so I guess there was the good and the bad. But that's the thing, is that if you're, maybe your child wants to go into public health or nonprofit or some kind of something, and nonprofits, a lot of people make money on nonprofits, but they're usually the CEOs that make the money on the nonprofits. And a lot of times people don't make the money that they would if they went into the public sector. Or maybe they want to become social workers, and social workers are woefully underpaid. Maybe they want to become a teacher, they're also woefully underpaid. But if that's what their passion is, you can't say to them, no, you need to make money, because there are a lot of people who have plenty of money, but they don't have the fulfillment. If you're working 60, 70 hours a week for billable hours to become an attorney, and you never really wanted to be an attorney, what have you accomplished? If you have stuff, that's what you end up dying with.
And
And
you can't take it with you.
and you know what they say, the one who dies with the most toys still dies.
That's true. We all go. Well,
Yes.
the thing about it is that we have allowed ourselves to be sold on the idea that a dollar figure equals happiness, and it doesn't, because you
No.
can get everything you want in life if you are pursuing what you enjoy in life. I mean, how many pairs of shoes do you need to be able to walk? you know,
How
uh,
many coats? How
Oh
many
my goodness,
designer
I
bags?
am in
how
the
many-
middle of reading a book about minimalism, where this guy became a minimalist, and his whole story is incredible. I took this book out of the library just a couple of days ago, and I'm already halfway through it because it's very engaging and you can just get engulfed in it. But he talked about his very rough childhood and how he was determined to buy his way out of misery, became a
Mm,
CEO at a young age, got to the top of his company, had the fulfillment of the American dream in terms of a huge house in the suburbs with 2 cars and lots of fancy furniture, and realized at this point of so-called quote unquote success, he was completely miserable.
mhm.
And what made him start to assess his life, a lot of things happened at once. His mother died, his marriage ended, and he
Ooh,
realized that he was just miserable
mm,
because he felt that he was surrounded by stuff, but that stuff did not bring him happiness. And
yeah.
he just started getting rid of stuff. Okay, I'm in the middle of the book, so I haven't gotten to the end. But at the point where I am reading, he is discovering that your life cannot consist of things.
That's it.
And the name of the book
That's,
is what is it? Love people, not stuff.
yeah.
And the opposite is just going to mess you up. The title is something like that. I don't have it through.
But
But
that is the lesson in life, that hopefully you don't have to get to the end of your life before you finally figure it out. If you're with people that you love, if you're doing what you love and you have joy, that is success.
Yes.
If
Yes.
there's nothing you can buy that can buy what you don't have. if you don't have love, if you don't
And
have
you can
joy.
still set up your child for a new a new version of success. If because I wanted to be a sports writer, daddy would say, "Oh, you need to sit down and watch this game. You need to know this stuff." He was the one who
That's
who who explained
Encourage.
football. He explained football to me so I would know it. He
good.
explained things to me. So, and so I and it was never one of those, "Oh, you're not going to make enough money in that. You need to go into this." And there was a one time that at one point everybody wanted all the black kids to be engineers,
Yeah,
Yeah.
or architects, and that's fine if that's what your passion
that's
is.
the
But
passion.
it was more about you need to be engineers because engineers make money.
Yeah, that's the current thing now. So everybody, you need to
you
just be
know
engineer.
Now everybody wants to get into coding or STEM, and
Yeah,
STEM is good if that is your passion.
yeah,
But if you have a child that says, okay, I want to be a singer, or I want to be a dancer, you know what, take some money, get them exposed to those things. There are
that's
free
right.
programs. If you don't have them, encourage those things in your school. Find someone who maybe do a trade, or give your kid piano lessons or voice lessons for not too much money, and see if they still want it after they've had to work at it. And
Yeah,
that was one thing that I always said, I became we became the people that I used to make fun of, because, my in-laws, their kids did everything. Well, we only had
that's
one kid, so
right.
she did everything. Anything she was expressed interest in, except for hockey, I told her no, I wasn't getting up early. Um, but everything else, she had all kinds of dance classes. She had piano, she had voice, she learned how to do a baton. I did had ice skating lessons. Everything that she pretty much wanted to try, we let her try, because you know what? You're a kid. Something will stick.
Right.
And if she had, like I said, if she had decided she wanted to be a professional dancer, I was all for that. But now she's dancing. She still dances, and she dances in a group. So and it does perform. They do perform. So, she still has that passion, but she doesn't make money from it. But you know what? It gives her joy.
And
And
that's what
so
you want them to
and
have.
and that's what you wanna do. You want your children to, they're not gonna be children forever. In fact, they're gonna be
Right.
children for just a short time. So let them try to discover what will bring them joy. And maybe they wanna do something for a while, and then maybe they're gonna wanna stop. And we've talked about letting them quit teams and things like that. But you have to let them at least explore, and maybe something will stick, and maybe it's not the thing that you had. People say, "Oh, she's such a talent." I said, "Yeah, well, it didn't come from me, it came from God."
Yeah,
you
and
know
that's the
so
thing to remember. If your child has a God-given talent, they have it for a reason. They're supposed to express it and not be crushed by our limited visions of what they can be or what they can do.
yes.
We got a viewer that has a comment. James Lester says, dreams are like rainbows, he says. And he said, create your dreams. Uh, uh, create your dreams is personal. As a child, I explored nature to teach me something about my life. Stay rooted with nature of the sun, star, universe, and uh, so my dreams can guide me into greatness. Yeah. So
I don't know if you remember
And
this
we
or
all
not,
know what
but
happens to a dream deferred.
it drives up
yeah.
like a raisin in the sun.
Yeah, well, and not only that, I don't know if you remember this, but in Sidney Poitier's movie To Sir with Love, he was looking for an engineering job.
Yes.
And
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
at the end when he got that opportunity to take that engineering job, and he
Paid
decided
off.
to
Yeah.
stay with being a
To
teacher
give
because he saw the impact he had on those kids. And I remember Mama being mad. She was
I
Mama
remember that
said,
too.
you
When
know
he
what,
said that,
I
Mama was like,
remember that.
oh, they always want to make a black man not take the right kind of job. You know that he would really be an
I
engineer, a
remember
teacher.
that.
And she was just upset. She did not like that ending that he
She didn't
chose
get it.
to
She
be a
didn't get
teacher
it.
instead of an
Which
engineer.
means that she missed the entire point.
Here's the
It
point.
was about fulfilling
But
what
her generation, though.
yes, it was
That's
her
how we are.
generation. It was about making money. I
Yeah.
mean, and it was good for us because we got to college degrees because she had that vision, that our children would, that her children would do something that she could not do. She had run out of money, so she had her vision and started saving money for her children's college before she even met our father.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That was a
her vision, but and that was I think they call them the greatest generation, but for us baby boomers and those of us who came after the baby boomers, that we have to understand that it's not all about money. It's
all
not
about
all I
money.
mean, everybody wants to pay the bills.
Yeah,
Nobody wants
a lot of people in our generation, they suffering with depression related illnesses because they spent years in jobs that they hated. So we
yes,
should learn something from that. You don't spend 40, 50 years doing something that you hate, and then at the end of your life you retire, but you're so sick from being unhappy that you can't even enjoy the last years because you're so sick. So that's not a success in terms of the decision making. And I believe if you're doing what you enjoy, the money will come, because that's just, I mean, there is no lack in the universe. I mean, if you have a talent, a skill, ability, and you approach it with a passion, it's going to pay you. You're going to thrive, because you create the energy of success because you're already successful when you're happy. And so just like Daddy was saying, okay, you want to write sports, well, learn the sport, learn it, and
right,
then
right.
so be good at what you decide you love to do. One thing I try to do with Zakia is not limit her vision of what she wanted. She was interested in modeling, she was interested in, she ended up doing all the things that she wanted to do and getting, just a great career. But the thing is, the door was open, and because first she was gonna go to the America's Top Model thing. I think it was, she had to make a decision because they had picked her. I think her and Lorelai had gone down there to audition, but they had picked her, but she'd have had to, I think, go to Los Angeles, and it was during finals week in college. So she was like, "Oh man, what should I do? Should I go? If I go, I'll blow my final." Uh, and I could make the dean's list, but I don't, but this might be my chance for my career. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to make that decision for you, because I don't want to tell you don't go, and then you spend the rest of your life thinking, oh, I could have gone, I could have made it. And I don't want to tell you to go, because then you might feel like, yeah, but now I'm blowing my last year in college. So she finally ended up not going, and I think that they mentioned, well, there might be a little nudity, but it's all part of the show. And she just kind of thought, I don't want to risk my getting my degree and all of that for something that might follow me in a way that might not be positive. So
Yes,
she said,
yes,
I'm going to wait, and I want to model on my terms where I don't
right.
compromise any standards. And turned out she ended up modeling. She went up going overseas, teaching and modeling, and just doing the whole thing her way. And now got a great career, and all kind of traveling and everything. So she got a degree, made the dean's list, uh, started her career and just everything. And then the first job she got out of college, it wasn't something based on making a lot of money, but it was something that she loved. She was actually she was running a food pantry.
Yeah.
And she loved that. She loved what she was doing. But it led to other things, and she was fulfilled while she was doing it. And then it just, from there she got the opportunity to go abroad and teach and all the other things. So I never made her feel like, well, how much are you making? Well, what are you doing? Well, what are you going to do with your life? I never made her feel like whatever she was doing wasn't worthwhile, because she always did what she enjoyed and what made her feel fulfilled. And I think that's what makes your child appreciate
And
whatever
here's a dirty little secret. Companies no longer want you there 30, 40 years.
they don't.
And millennials are kind of getting that. And if there's one thing COVID has taught a lot of people is that, I don't really want to do this for a long time. And it's not just older people who are taking buyouts. It's a lot of younger people right now. For instance, my old industry, the newspaper industry, they're having a hard time finding copy editors because people don't want to do, they realize they've been home for 2 years and they don't want to do this anymore. And they realize that the job is not the fulfilling uh thing that they started out with, and it's all over. You hear about the great resignation, and we're all hearing about the great resignation. It's because people are suddenly realizing there's more to life than sitting in front of a computer or doing this or doing that and just making money. And there's been a lot more mental health issues because of COVID, but there's also been a lot more of mental self-awareness, mental, reassessing what we want to do in this life, because we have seen 860,000 Americans die from this virus. And
So what's really
so
important in
what's
life?
really the most important thing isn't getting back to work at a job that you don't like, maybe around people that you don't like, and
Mhm.
then just to make money that really nobody's going anywhere, so you can't spend it anyway. So,
Yeah, really.
so there are a lot of people, and I'm talking about a certain segment
Society.
of the population, because there are a lot of people who are still struggling. They're still struggling with homelessness. They're still struggling with addictions. They're still struggling with mental health. They're still struggling to pay the bills. And yet there are a lot of people who still can look around and say, yeah, but I think I can do better than this. And
Yeah.
I say, good for them. You know what? Let's just keep on resigning until people get a living wage.
Yep. I agree. I
Let's just
agree.
let's just keep until you can be fulfilled, instead of people saying, well, you shouldn't, uh get paid $15 for flipping burgers. Well, you don't want to do it.
Right. Someone
And
has
your
to do it.
CEO is making millions. So why
Right.
can't I don't care what the job is, everybody needs a living wage. And
Right.
that's the thing. But that not that that signals success, but that signals comfort.
Yes. People shouldn't be struggling. I
You
mean,
shouldn't
you
be
should
and
be
you
able
shouldn't be
to
struggling
do it.
to get to what you want. I mean, if you want to be an actor, you probably are waiting tables. You
Yes,
probably are doing something like that, and you're going on auditions and you're doing these other things. But part of that is you're making enough so that you can go on those auditions, so
Right.
that you can do those things, so
Right.
that when you can get the extra work for $200 for that day, you got that. So these are the things, and sometimes part of your dream is the struggling to make it.
Yeah.
But
And
just
everybody we know that has excelled beyond their wildest imagination. They had those lean years when they lived out of their car or, slept on a friend's couch.
you know,
ate a lot of beans out of a can,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
ramen noodles.
Yeah.
yes,
So,
yes. So,
that's all part of the success.
don't be afraid of the struggle, because the struggle, you're going to struggle one way or the other. If you struggle and you make
Character
money and
building.
you hate it, that's a struggle on your mental. If you're struggling, but you're struggling because you're doing something, and and you don't feel like you're getting the encouragement, that's a whole different struggle. But at least do something, put yourself and put your kids on the path to do something that they love. They may not love it forever, and it's okay to change their mind too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because
Yes.
there's no reason to be stuck in something that you've tried and realize, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life.
Right.
And it's okay to change your mind midstream,
Yeah.
especially if you're young and you have many options available and many opportunities to try all kinds of things. I remember in Raising in the Sun when the grandmother was
Yeah.
judging her daughter, who said, "What are you doing now? You didn't even use that photo equipment that you had. Why are you always
Mm.
flitting from thing to thing?"
Yeah.
And the daughter is saying, "Well, I need to express myself." And
Yeah.
her mother did not quite get it, And I understand that
because it's expensive.
haphazard type of thing where
Yeah.
you don't really know what you want to do.
Yeah.
But
See,
she
that
was young enough
generation,
to
they
try
didn't
things.
they didn't understand that. That was the practical generation. Like, look, you have to make decisions that are gonna help you survive. You know, all this exploration of, find yourself. No, we don't have time for that.
We're
You
not
can
doing
find
that.
yourself.
You can
Well, you
work.
can look around when you're not working, and that still goes.
Yeah.
That still
Yeah.
goes. You can still look around and find things that you like to do,
Yeah.
because the thing is that when somebody, they want to backpack around you across Europe after they've, gone
Yeah.
through college, and that's great and dandy, but
Yeah.
you're going to have to work first so that you can pay for that.
Right.
We're not saying you shouldn't pay for those things.
Yeah. Just
We're saying that you shouldn't make paying for things the only reason to
right.
survive.
Right. That can't be the only reason why you do something. It's just so that you can get paid. But you do have to have a plan to get paid so you can do the things you need to do or the things you like to do.
You work so you work so you can live. You don't live so you can work.
There
Yeah.
you go. That's it.
Yes.
You
I
work
have a
to
friend
live,
who
don't
lives in Southeast Asia with his wife and their kids, and they live a very simple life, but they are enjoying it and they don't want to come back to the United States. And my friend and her husband, they kind of cannot understand it. They are a little bit upset that this son of theirs and their family are not living the American dream, but they love exactly what they are doing.
Yeah. I
And the
think
American dream is not an American dream for everybody.
Yeah,
For some people, it's a nightmare.
right. So
unfortunately.
so the best dream is when you are fulfilled, you are comfortable, and you're with the people you love. That's success. Yes. Well, it's time for us to go. We've been over a little bit over this time, but that's okay because I think people learn something. And if you have children and they have dreams and they are maybe expressing an idea of something that they want to be that might not be what you had in mind, that's okay. Trust that they know inside what they want to become and give them, what would you say? Give them roots and give them wings.
Yeah, give them the tools to at least see if they really love it. Because if they
Yeah.
love it, they don't mind the struggle.
Absolutely. And James says, not the ramen noodles.
Yeah, the ramen noodles.
Sometimes that's part of what
The
you got to
ramen
do.
noodles and the canned tuna.
But sometimes those are the best years of your life when you look back on it. After you've made it to the top of your game, you remember those ramen noodle days.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
that's what makes you appreciate where you finally end up. Well, we've got to go. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms, and follow us on Facebook, Three Black Moms. Until next time, I'm Naima.
And I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Barbara. We are Three Black Moms. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're Three Black Moms.